obviously people know you as Jennifer Nangle, but they also would know you as Malvolia, your, I guess, alternate character of yourself, like a big version of yourself, and perhaps.
I am the Queen of Screams. Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, let's kick you off with, how did you get into filmmaking?
So I have always been an actor. Growing up, I was an actor. And, you know, when you go to college, I went to college for musical theater, and they never really teach you the real life of an actor. They teach you performance, they'll teach you voice, they'll teach you dance, they'll teach you, but they don't, like the history of theater. They teach you dialects, they teach you everything, but they don't teach you the business of acting. And so I thought once I graduated college, I would move to New York City and I would be this big Broadway star and everything would be amazing and perfect and life would go the way that I wanted it to go. Well, unfortunately, 9/11 happened my second semester of my senior year of college. So that summer, I had done Shakespeare in the Park, and a lot of actors were coming back home because of the whole 9/11 situation. So I was like, okay, maybe 9/11's, maybe New York City isn't the place that I should go to. So then I thought, oh, I'll go to LA. So it's easy. It's so easy to just get on television, you know, get a sitcom, you know, go to work every day, make that money. You'll be fine. You'll be a star like within moments. So I saved up. I worked 2 jobs and saved up for a year and a half, a full-time job and a part-time job. And I moved across the country from Buffalo, New York to Los Angeles. And I enrolled in a Meisner Technique program. And the number one rule was you shouldn't audition while you're training. So I trained for 2 years. And then all of a sudden it was kind of like, all right, you're out on your own. Peace out. Have a good time. And then it was like, well, what do I do? How do I do this? Where do I go? Like there were a lot of questions and there were some answers. But, you know, you tend to get a lot more auditions that you don't constantly book, which is exhausting. So, and it doesn't help pay the bills. And then you have to work a part-time job, and that's flexible enough so that you can make it to your auditions to possibly book those jobs. And I just found the whole thing so tedious and frustrating and depressing. And I was like, there has to be something else that I can do, you know, to stay creative, because, you know, you can go to acting class, but that's money. That's more money that I'm dishing out that, you know, is still not helping pay the bills, you know? So a friend of mine was like, hey, you know, this whole self-producing thing the web series is like this new thing. You know, I have this story, I have somebody writing it. Would you want to help produce it and, you know, have a role in it? And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And so she opened up my world to a whole other world, because I was never going to be a filmmaker. I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to show up on set and have people do things for me, and, you know, to have people tell me what to wear as my character and just memorize lines and perform. And so I learned, you know, how to record sound. I learned how a camera worked. I learned how lighting worked, because lighting is a lot different than stage. You know, I started to learn a lot more about film and being on camera as opposed to being in the theater. And since then, I've just been kind of hooked ever since, because I don't have to wait for that audition. I don't have to wait for somebody to approve me to say, yes, you can play this part. I can play whatever part whenever I want to. I can think outside the box. I can make my living room into Malvolia's lair, and I can record whenever I want to record. So, and I can constantly put out content out to show, hey, I'm working, I'm doing something, I'm creating, you know, and I don't need anybody's permission to do that. So that's why I became a filmmaker.
Okay. Well, you mentioned obviously that you moved to LA. Did you ever get any options to be doing any sort of, like, I don't know, adverts or anything, like just like a minute bit in an advert for, I don't know, for shampoo or something, where most people sort of start off when they get an option is to do some kind of advertisement?
So I have a funny story about that. So when I was going through, when I was going through, my acting, my 2-year Meisner technique program, I would kind of branch off and take like other little day courses that I could afford. And so a lot of them would be like agent courses, agent classes, where you have a class with a certain agent and they'll teach you certain things and they'll, treat everything like an audition or whatever. And so there was this big agent who I think was a big agent. He represented a lot of people, a lot of solid people at the time. His name was Danny Sussman. And I went to his class and he opened it. It was at USC, I believe. And he opened it up for everybody, not just USC students, but other people that wanted to take the class. And so I remember sitting there the first day of class and he's going on and on and on and on and on. And he looks at me and he stops and he's like, you should be going out for commercials. Your commercial agent should be so busy with you. You have that commercial face. And I was like, oh my God, like he sees something in me. I could do commercials, right? I could totally do commercials. I totally have that face. And so I submitted for numerous commercial agents. I got rejected constantly. Anytime I did have an agent, I would go out for numerous auditions and I would never book them. So the answer is no. I have never done an advertisement. No.
Did you ever get any obviously advertising in form of filming, but did you ever get anything for taking photographs, that kind of thing? Just a simple modeling job type idea?
No. Nope, nothing like that. No.
Okay, well, I guess that leads into my next question then.
Okay.
What was your first role?
So I had to like dig deep and go back to look it up on my IMDb, and so I think it was I don't know if it was Guide's web series, which we did, or if it was that other web series that I did. But for the other web series, I was just a day player and they ended up not really using my footage. So, I mean, we could talk about Guides is more fun to talk about anyway, because I was a producer on it. I was in eight of the 10 episodes and it's a cool concept, but yeah. Web series.
Okay.
Self-produced.
Okay. I'll go on with the next one then. So how long have you been doing it? So obviously you mentioned you were at guess university and then you started going into acting from there.
Yeah, I mean, I've been acting since I was 10. But as far as filmmaking is concerned, I don't think I started until like 2013 was the actual like self-producing kind of thing. Yeah. So what is that? 7 years?
Yeah, as I say, I looked at, obviously I've been looking at your IMDb and there's a hell of a lot on there. So you've done quite a lot within 7 years.
I have. And like, that's the beautiful thing about self-producing is that, again, you don't have to wait for anybody's permission. You can just do what you want to do whenever you want to do it. And, I learned all the aspects. I learned how to edit. I just wanted to have that complete control so that, I wouldn't give some things to somebody and then have it, not be edited for like 8 months. Like I can do it the same day that I shoot and get it out there. Yeah.
I think that's probably what a lot of people do, isn't it? Actors, well, not everybody, obviously, but a lot of actors, more indie actors, actresses, they would go out and let's see what goes on behind the scenes. Can I, do editing like you are, or create music, etc. Because obviously it gives you something else to look on your CD.
Yes, I think now, in the past couple of years, people have been doing that, but back when I started, a lot of people were like, "Oh, I don't want to get to behind the scenes. I just want to be an actor. I want to be known as an actor. I don't want to be taken advantage of or thought of as something different." And I totally get that. Like once you kind of are like, "Oh, well, I know how to edit." People are like, "Oh, well, can you edit this? Can you edit that?" And then they don't, cast you. And I totally understand how that goes, but I feel like in this day and age, you have to know everything. You really do. Well, and it's good for your performance too.
That's what I'd say, but it must be good for that, especially if you're doing your own stuff. You obviously don't have to reach out to somebody else and go, "Can you edit this for me?" And like you said, wait however many months for them to get it done, send it back to you, and potentially you might look at it and go, "That's not what I wanted." And you have to re-edit yourself anyway.
Right. Or you have to send it back and then wait for it to be finished. And then you have to like pay them, which I live paycheck to paycheck. So I don't have all that extra money to share. So that's why I just keep it in my pocket and keep myself doing, But,
It's the right thing to do. So
yeah.
I guess the next question should be, what have you been working on, and what are you currently working on, or you're planned to work on in the future? So you obviously got lots of different projects spinning at the time. As I'm looking at your IMDb page, you've got a lot of stuff going on. So tell the people what you're currently doing.
All right, let's do it. Well, The Last Roommate came out in March. That was released. 5G Zombies was also recently released, where I have a little sniblet in there. Axe to Pieces is also out. And then quarantine hit. So I've been doing some quarantine stuff. I did a little Alien segment for a fan film that I can't say what it is, but it's a fan film, and it's really, really cool. And my part was really fun and really challenging to do. So that's supposed to be out during quarantine. So I think within the next week or so that should be out. Quarantine with the Queen with Malvolia. The 6th episode was released today, and I have a little surprise popping out on Thursday. So there's one little extra thing, and then we're just still waiting for quarantine to end, because I am doing the Screaming Undead. I always say the title wrong, but it's The Screaming Undead with Dustin Ferguson, which I'm really excited. Which I was actually cast for that prior to The Roommate, The Last Roommate. So that's going to be a zombie flick that we're filming, hopefully in June, I hope. Mm-hmm. And then I just got cast in Jeffrey I'm going to totally butcher his last name, but Kaminsky. His script With Child. It's a horror film about a pregnant woman, and it won best screenplay at Shriekfest in 2012, and he's finally putting it into production. And it's funny, I was able to read for 2 roles, and I was like, I don't know. I'd kind of like the lead role. I don't know if I want to play the best friend, because I always get cast as the best friend. And I got cast as the best friend, but it's a dope ass role. Like, it is really cool. It's not like your typical best friend. She's got personality. She's got jazz. She's not like, she's concerned about her friend, but they go on a little adventure together. So it's not like that typical, like, here's a cup of sugar. Like, it's going to be fun. So
are you writing anything yourself? Obviously you got your Malvolia stuff, but are you doing stuff?
Yeah, I'm always writing something. My goal at the end of last year into this year was to write a feature film. And I have had such a hard time doing it. I am so good. I've gotten so good at short films, telling a story really, really quickly. So now that, like, when I sit down to write a feature film, I find it really difficult, because I want to just get straight to the point. I don't know how to kind of schmooze and kind of add some things and, do this little slow type storytelling. I like to go quick and to the point. So I've been kind of dabbling, but my friend and producing partner on this one script, it's called The Curse of Abigail. He's really kind of resurrected the excitement with that. With me, we've been meeting every Monday and having kind of like a powwow session. So we've outlined pretty much the whole movie. I have like 23 pages written, and I hope to get the rest done within this month, so that once all of this is over, we can move forward with it.
Well, now you've just brought that up, I will ask you, is this going to be something that potentially you might do a crowdfunding type idea for, or do you have somebody lined up money person lined up for your film already?
I honestly haven't thought that far, only because I just haven't finished the script. But, you know, either are possible. I just don't know a lot of people with a lot of money that would want to give me a lot of money. So so it might be a mixture of half and half. It might be crowdfunding and you know, that. I don't know. We'll have to see. It's like, you know, budgets and all that kind of stuff is always so difficult for me because I want to get to the creative part. I want to get to, like, let's get on set and let's get this alive and let's get this moving and let's get this thing shot. All that pre-stuff, all that pre-production I'm just not a fan of. It's not my thing. So so we'll see.
I would imagine that's like that for a lot of people, especially if you're writing your own stuff. You also got in your head, you kind of got the image built up in your head what you want to do, but then of course you got to think, oh, I've got to hire a camera and I've got to pay this person this and I've got to do catering, etc., etc. Then suddenly your film that may have been a couple of $1,000s is suddenly skyrocketed to several tens of thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I always ask for a lot of favors too, so that might have to happen, you know. But yeah, you're right. It usually does get a little crazy.
Well, don't worry about it. I'm sure you'll get it out there eventually. So, what advice do you have for upcoming actors and people wanting to get into your industry?
Be strong. Know that you're going to hear the word no so many more times than you're going to hear the word yes. But don't let that deter you. You know, that's why I say be strong, because you could show your acting reel or your directing reel or your camera, whatever reel it is, to somebody, and they could say 1,000 things of what it's wrong with it. And then the next person you show it to, they could say 1,000 things of what's amazing about it. Like, there's so many opinions out there. There's so much judgment. There's so much jealousy. So you can't really take that to heart. I'm like one of the most sensitive people ever. So I do always take everything to heart, even though I'm like, don't. So just remember, it's just business. It's just business. And again, don't wait for somebody to give you approval to do what you want to do. Just pick up that camera and just do it.
That seems pretty sound advice.
That's what I did. I was like, I'm finally going to pick this up. I'm going to finally write something down. Let's just finally do it, you know, because it's pointless. And make sure you just get it out there. Finish it and get it out there. A lot of times people will shoot things and then they don't finish it because they get too much in their head, or they get too much, like, it's not perfect. Like, nothing is going to be perfect. Nothing is going to come out the way that you want it to come out. Like, you may get on set and you may have, you know, the whole thing blocked out and the whole idea of how you want to, you know, direct something or shoot something. And then you'll run into some sort of roadblock, and you can't let that deter you. You got to think quickly and move and get it done, you know? Just let it out and just go.
And the last one for you is, you've kind of already done this already anyway, but do you want to promote yourself, your channel, your website, and of course any other projects you're currently got going on? But you've kind of done that already. But obviously,
well, let's do some
website.
More. Yeah, don't get sick of me. You can follow me on Facebook.com/Jennifer Nangle, or on Twitter or Instagram at Jennifer_Nangle. Or then Malvolia is youtube.com/C/Malvolia, the Queen of Screams, or at Queen Malvolia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Do you have a website for you, as in your own website?
I do. I mean, if you want to dabble on it, it's jennifernangle.com, but it has not been updated in, like, I'd say 2 years. So you can see all the past.
Well, see the past, Jen. This is future Jen. You can see past Jen on her website.
Exactly. Go to the past.
Well, as always, it's a pleasure talking to you. Thanks for coming on, and I wish you the best with all your upcoming projects.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right. Bye for now.